Yeah, man! Serious times down in Johannesburg. Watch the fire now. Listen! The horns! Oh, yeah. The stage was set, the lights were low for the big G20 show. Leaders coming from across the sea to talk about the world economy. Johannesburg was dressed to impress, ready to clean up the global mess. But before the first gavel could sound, a different kind of noise started going around. Now everybody talking about Cyril's big blunder. He lighting the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. The ANC politicians step up to the mic, spewing out words that nobody like. They open their mouths and the fire jump out, insulting America, scream and shout. They're telling tall tales, they're telling the lies, right there under the African skies. And the media catch it, they run with the ball, they amplify the noise until the whole thing follow. Talking about Cyril's big blunder, he lighting the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. Yeah. Watch the house of cards, they're tumbling down. Yeah, blow it down, what a mess. I look at the president sitting up high, I see that little twinkle in his eye. He cracking that smile, that devious grin, while the diplomatic ice is getting very thin. You think the eagle gonna take that heat? Nah, sir, they won't take a seat. No Uncle Sam at your Josie party. You chase them away, you're acting too hearty. It's Cyril's big blunder, he lighting the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. Yeah, yeah, they staying away America now come to Johannesburg today. You set the house on fire, man, what kind of plan? Cyril, wipe that smile off your face. It's a disgrace. No, sir. No, sir.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Mark the date, Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. Let me just double check this microphone, which was acting up last night, and see if it's still acting up or if it's okay today. Appears to be okay. Let's see if you guys can hear me. If you guys can hear me. Sounds good. All right. Well, mark the date, March 11th, 2026, the day that the South African government opened hostilities officially with the United States. The hostilities have been going on now for 26 years. They've increased dramatically since President Trump became president after the spiteful behavior of the former ambassador to the United States, Ibrahim Rasool, insulting and attacking the United States and its president repeatedly. Only got caught finally in a forum. After that, the behavior of the South African government at doxing our officials who were there for the G20 summit Sherpa meetings, disclosing their locations so they could be harassed and threatened, and their names to the public, which weren't known to the public. In addition, after that, the violation of the Vienna Convention, raiding a diplomatic site on December 16th. Prior to that, of course, the Ramaphosa mocking and laughing about the President of the United States, on and on and on. What do you mean you miss me? I've been here every day. What are you talking about? So I do not understand why they are doing this, but now they've upped the ante by demanding that our ambassador report to the South African Foreign Ministry in front of a clown of a foreign minister, Ronald Lamola. Thank you for your membership. In front of a clown of a foreign minister over comments made at a Biz News conference, comments that are factually correct, comments that are protected speech in South Africa, comments that simply state facts and did not say anything against the government of South Africa. The abuse of the Vienna Conventions and diplomatic protocols by the government of South Africa is beyond the pale here. Beyond the pale. Thank you, Golda. Beyond the pale. We have seen now that the South African government, unlike the issue where they ordered a démarche and ordered Ambassador Brigitte to report to the South African government, in that case, the government had cause. Now, not really, because what they were up to was shameful, illegal, and was problematic. But at least on the surface, they had cover to say they had cause because they felt that their government had been undermined or attacked by his claims that they were involved in the shipment of weapons to Russia. That's reasonable. But in this case, Brent Bozell spoke and talked about the preconditions that the government of South Africa is fully aware of and has known about for a very long time, a year now, and simply ignored them. The cheek of these people in politics in South Africa simply ignore the United States. Brazil might be right. Lulu's advice that you might be invaded. Well, keep pissing Trump off. This isn't going to end very well. This isn't going to go very well. Yes, I'm aware of Malema and the EFF. We'll talk about that. They are going to find themselves in deep water, too. As I said, I honestly have believed now for over a year that Julius Malema has a sealed bench warrant for his arrest. And that's the reason why he's not traveling internationally, because the moment he touches down the country with an extradition treaty with the United States, he'll be extradited to the United States for his calls for murder of President Trump. Yep. So, yeah. Anyway, this is just, wow. Okay, I don't really understand why people want to talk about refugees when I'm talking about the news. Can you not read the headline? Does the headline say refugees? Does the headline say this is a refugee program? No, this is a news program. Yeah, they summoned Brent Bozell. Now the ANC strategy is quite clear. They will accept his credentials, as I predicted, but as I suspected, they would call him on the carpet anytime their feelings were hurt. Brent Bozell committed no diplomatic offense, and he was called before Durko. This is beyond the pale. This conduct by the African National Congress is reprehensible. Hiding behind the shield of the Vienna Convention, which they violate on a regular basis, is no good. So let's talk about what happened here. Oh, okay. Well, here we go again. You know what? You all keep talking about, you want to have a chat session about refugees. You need to go start your own, WhatsApp group or Telegram group or start your own ICQ conversation. That's it. I've now, even people have been here for a long time asking questions about it, making next reference refugees is a timeout. Next reference refugees is a timeout. I don't care if you walk in after I say this. The next reference refugees is a timeout. Can we please focus on the news? Why is that so difficult? Good Lord. It's like trying to tame teenagers, I swear. So disrespectful. You want to disrespect? Go elsewhere. Bozell démarche for undiplomatic conduct. Unfortunately, ANC Ferrara, it wasn't undiplomatic conduct. That's a claim by the ANC. U.S. Ambassador Brent Bozell was called to the Ministry of International Relations to be démarched. It believes his insistence that the kill of Borsong is unconstitutional, regardless of the court rulings to the contrary, was out of bounds. No, it's not out of bounds. Also, that's a partial statement. That speech was declared hate speech by a South African court 20 years ago. 20 years ago, that was declared hate speech. A corrupt court overturned it. So calling that out of bounds is wrong. It's previously been declared hate speech by South African courts. Maybe he should have just said that. If they declare Brent Bozell persona non grata for something like that, then South Africa will face sanctions. There you go. Simple as that. Thank you, Lydia. All right. Step comes less than a month after his arrival in South Africa, stems from off-the-cuff remarks he made on Tuesday. The word off-the-cuff is pretty clear. In a question-and-answer session at Biz News conference, notice he made yesterday, and he's there today. We asked for 5 things from the South African government a year ago. 1 year ago, we asked for 5 things from the South African government. We have not even had the courtesy of a denial yet. The South African government has not even said, no, we're not going to do that. Not even. Yet less than 24 hours after Brent Bozell goes to a news conference, which he promotes South Africa-U.S. relations endlessly, these scumbags haul him before a moron, Ronald Lamola. Not acceptable. Not acceptable. In a question-and-answer session in Hermanus, Bozell expressed the view that the struggle song Kill the Boer constitute hate speech, regardless of the jurisprudence of the South African courts on the subject. We may not get clarity on the Kill the Boer chant that we believe is hate speech. I'm sorry, I don't care what your courts say, it's hate speech. Now that's an opinion. That is an opinion. Frankly, if he'd been better briefed, he could have said, it's unfortunate because your courts have previously found it to be hate speech, but now, strangely, it's no longer hate speech. How does that happen? That would have served him better. The remark came in the context of a complaint from Bozell that Washington has run out of patience with South Africa's government's failure to heed its demands that it change its domestic and foreign policy. Yep, so there you go. South Africa should distance itself from Iran, exempt U.S. companies from BE, amend the Expropriation Act, outlaw expropriation without compensation, and declare rural safety a policing priority, as well as condemn Kill the Boer. The Constitutional Court last year denied AfriForum leave to appeal a ruling by Supreme Court of Appeals that singing the song did not constitute hate speech, saying there was no reasonable prospect of success. There's no reasonable prospect of success. The damn song has already been declared hate speech 20 years ago by this Constitutional Court. How the hell can that court argue that it's not no reasonable chance of success? Unbelievable. Bozell's insistence that the song constitute hate speech was all the more striking because the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution does not apply. It does not apply to South Africa. It does not apply. It's the U.S. Constitution. And the U.S. Constitution does not protect all speech. Oh my goodness. The march intended to signal the United States Department of State that Bozell has exceeded diplomatic bounds and should be reined in. He has not exceeded diplomatic bounds. You have reined in. You have assaulted his rights to free speech in South Africa. You've undermined his rights to free speech. He didn't run around screaming the K word. He simply stated facts. He offered his opinion. It's his opinion. I suppose you could argue that Ibrahim Rasool stated his opinion that America's racist and Donald Trump is a leader for global white supremacy. You could make that argument if I'm being balanced here. But the difference is there's no evidence to that. There's quite honestly evidence to the contrary that Kill the Boer is hate speech. It riles up people, incites them to murder white South Africans. That's why they scrawl it in blood on walls. This is beyond the pale conduct by the ANC. And they really are playing a stupid game. I mean, if we didn't have the ANC mocking Donald Trump and the United States at the G20, if we didn't have Ronald Lamola going on CNN calling Donald Trump a white supremacist, then this could be dismissed as well. They're a little touchy. But no, this is a clear assault, a campaign against the United States. We just saw it the other day. They came out and attacked the United States over Iran. They're angry because they're no longer getting money from Tehran. That must be what's going on. What else would it be? You tell me. You tell me. Don't let YouTube piss you off. I didn't announce this stream until 5 minutes before it went live because I'm still very ill. Exactly. The only reason they're doing this is to humiliate Bozell and Trump because they don't have any other stick to hit with. And they keep swinging that stick. It's going to come back as a log, as a trunk, and smack them hard. Thank you, Karen. Boy, all these people signing up for membership. Thank you, Karen. Though diplomats recently said his first steps ambassador were cause for cautious optimism, there's been friction in recent days, partly around an interview Ron Post gave New York Times, in which he said the reception he was given by the U.S. President overall felt like an ambush. Now, see, this is dishonest. This is dishonest. This is dishonest. Oh, Robert Post was presented with mock evidence of mass killings of Afrikaners. No, that is not what happened. You are a lying sack of manure. See, this is BS. This is Cockprot 24 back at it. Trump didn't give mock evidence. He didn't give mock evidence. He gave news reports from Cockprot 24 itself, from the Times, from the Daily Maverick. Those were those stories came from. They weren't mock evidence of Afrikaners and mass killings, you lying sack of horse manure. Cockprot 24 is what that newspaper is. You are a bunch of liars. That is not what happened there. The only thing that's even remotely related to that was a Daily Maverick story about murders in Africa, killings in Africa, and it included part of South Africa. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ramaphosa was not presented with mock evidence, and he was not ambushed in that meeting. And oh, by the way, this story doesn't tell you that Ramaphosa just called Trump a racist over and over and over and over and over and over again in that damn interview in the New York Times. Unbelievable. This is not news. This is cock. This is bullshit. These are lies, misrepresentations. The same reason that Bozell was called to the Durko. Lies and misrepresentations. I do think the Afrikaner policy is racist, he told the newspaper. He called Trump a racist. God, anybody know what the hell is going on with Windows 10? I thought the damn thing was done. They weren't adding changes to it. Every freaking day, my damn wallpaper changes. I have to change it back. I never gave it authority to do that. The more they say it's mock evidence or fake news, the more acceptable their lie becomes. And that's why I refute it. That's why I refute it. This is not a journalist story. Who is this person? Who is this? Aaron C. Ferreira. That is not news. That is your bullshit, lying, fucking opinion. Mr. Ferreira or Miss Ferreira, what the hell Ernst means. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Mock evidence. There was no mock evidence. Mock is something made up, something fictionalized. These were fucking South African news reports. You lying sack of shit. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wow. Bozell accused Ramaphosa of insulting Trump with remarks. Insulting our president on the eve of coming to our country is not a good sign. Sending condolence letters to Iran after one of the world's greatest terrorists has been put down is not a good sign. That was, Khomeini was killed. Yep. Well, we're fed the same thing in America, and people fall for it. Hence, half the country doesn't believe what's going on in this country because they're fed the same stuff. The economic freedom fighters, the prison suit wearing clowns who pretend to participate in Parliament, have called for his expulsion. I call for their disbandment and criminalization of the EFF. While Fikile Mabula says South Africa won't be dictated to by the U.S. No, it won't, and it will burn to the ground as a result. The EFF has called for U.S. Ambassador Brent Bozell to be expelled, while ANC Secretary General Fikile Mabula has warned the ambassador that South Africa will not be dictated to or run its own affairs. This comes after Bozell, while speaking at business conference Hermanus on Tuesday, suggests the U.S. had run out of patience. Our position is very firm. We put together 5 asks. We put them forward to the South government, and we've been waiting for over a year. By the way, they're asks. They're not demands. See, they're no demands. See, Julius Malema is a retard. He's dumber than a box of rocks. I mean, you pile a chicken noodle soup, and you get more intellect than Julius Malema. No one demanded anything. These were requests from the South African government, but the South African government just ignored us. They simply ignored us, simply walked away. Crocotopia, my goodness, where have you been? It's been a while. 5 pounds. Thank you for the 5 pounds. Your last blood pressure device exploded. Yeah, they broke all your constitution by their ideologies. A constitution that they wrote. Yep. I will debunk that article, Anonymous, after Ronaldo's broadcast. He said there needs to be clarity on many of South Africa's policy positions, particularly because the U.S. is the country's second largest trading partner. And then, of course, the EFF wants him removed for simply stating the facts. In a strongly worded statement, The EFF spokesman Sanal Tambo said Bozell's comments warranted expulsion as ambassador. He described Ambassador Marks as an arrogant, entitled threat. Really? An arrogant, entitled threat. He simply conveyed politely in a public forum what the United States asked the South African for a year ago. The arrogant threats come from you dipshits in the EFF. You're a bunch of retards. Well, apparently Ambassador Bozell walked back his comment. He said, now respect South African court ruling. I respect the South African court ruling too, the one which declared kill the Boer hate speech 20 years ago. I do respect that court ruling. It was correct. U.S. Ambassador Brent Bozell initially dismissed the court ruling. He later clarified respecting South Judiciary while maintaining its personal view that the chant incites hate. Yeah. U.S. Ambassador to South Africa has backtracked on his comments that he does not care about the South African court ruling. Speaking at the Biz News conference, according to him, condemning rhetoric that incites hatred or glorifies violence. Mark says, please don't have a heart attack with your medical issues. Fools remain fools. Chill, Bo. I'm fine, man. Mark, do you see? I'm right back down here. Thank you for the 70 rand. No heart attack. No heart attack. I want to clarify that while my personal view, like that of many South Africans, is that the kill the Boer constitutes hate speech, the U.S. government respects the independence of finding South African judiciary. Except we do not. We do not. That's simply not true. Please give me a call when you're available. Shireen. How am I going to call you? I'm going to need a number for that. How am I going to call you? Thank you for the $5. I'm going to need your number for that. Yeah, so, we don't respect the judiciary. The United States government is saying that the expropriation without compensation is unconstitutional. So it doesn't respect the South African. So that's just political, diplomatic speech is what he's giving out there. Bozell stated that he does not care what our courts say. Yeah, well, but you know what? He probably shouldn't have said he doesn't care. He probably should have said it doesn't matter. Your courts have previously declared it hate speech, so what's the problem? I'm not blowing your head, Gasky. You guys don't understand me at all. You don't understand me at all. FlySAF Air is adding a fuel surcharge as oil prices drop. Interesting. Oil prices shot up to 125, shot back down to 99, down to 89. Now they want to add a fuel surcharge. Typical airlines. They're not alone, though. I doubt an interview with Ambassador Bozell is going to be possible now. South Africa's aviation sector is starting to feel the impact of the global oil shock. Parliament has laid a criminal charge against Paul Sullivan for walking out of their ridiculous attack on him. National Assembly Speaker Toko Diziza and Secretary of Parliament will lay a criminal complaint against controversial foreign forensic investor Paul Sullivan after he walked out of the ad hoc committee. Screw them. Screw them. He voluntarily came there at his own expense, although apparently he's claiming reimbursement. But he came there at his own expense of time and went there to answer their questions. He told them when he was available. He appeared. They insulted him. They told him he should be dragged there in a donkey car, basically called him a racist, told him he came to South Africa because he loved apartheid, insulted him with racist comments when he was there to talk about police corruption, not about his life. This wasn't a court of This wasn't a court of law. It wasn't a question. Ingrid says, thank you for your passion. It shows right how deep your sense of right and wrong is. Thank you very much, Ingrid. Michelle, madness everywhere. Common sense is running, but can't catch up. Yeah, common sense is running away very hard. Paul O'Sullivan went there voluntarily. He told them, he appeared for them. He came for another day, and he told them I must leave at 1 o'clock. They agreed. At 1:15, they were still haranguing and berating him, and he said, I've got to go. He got up and left. He didn't answer their questions. So they actually have the audacity to lay a criminal complaint. They are in contempt of themselves. They are contemptible. It is a contemptible body. And more surcharges. These were out of order. This should have come next. South African Airways is increasing its surcharge. They claim that fuel costs increased by 70% week on week for South Africa's airlines. I find that hard to believe, since the price of petroleum was $70 a barrel and now it's $89 a barrel. How does the price of avgas jump by 70%? That just doesn't jive. Sounds like speculation. Someone's speculating in the marketplace. Well, South Africa's president calls Donald Trump's policy racist. But apparently, Our ambassador can't say that kill the Boer is hate speech. What happened to free speech in South Africa? Isn't it guaranteed on your constitution? Apparently not. And you're going to say you're a hypocrite. You criticize Ibrahim Rasool. Ibrahim Rasool made statements that were unfounded and they were defamatory. Brent Bozell said nothing defamatory about South Africa or about South Africans. He attacked no individual, no political figure, no institution. This is the New York Times story, just days ago. So because they're embarrassed by that, they had to find something to go after. They will continue to harass Brent Bozell. You watch. This isn't over. 3 ships hit by projectiles in the Strait of Hormuz as Iran escalates attacks. No aircraft, no Navy, but they're still attacking ships. 1 vessel caught on fire and crews evacuated overnight. Strikes on cargo ships. 3 commercial vessels were struck by projectiles in and around the Strait of Hormuz overnight. UK Maritime Trade Operations, which monitors shipping security in the region, issued multiple alerts describing the incidents and advising vessels to transit with caution. In one incident, they said it received a report from a master of a bulk carrier located 50 nautical miles northwest of Dubai, stating the vessel had been hit by an unknown projectile. Crews are safe and well. Second attack later in the morning, 11 miles north of Oman, struck by an unknown projectile. Thailand's transport ministry said that 20 crew members from a Thai ship hit in the incident had been rescued by the Omani Navy, while 3 others are missing. The ministry said an explosion at the stern caused a fire in the engine compartment where the missing crew members had been working. They're probably dead. So, crimes against humanity here by the Iranians, most likely. Or are they going to blame this on a tomahawk? Was this a tomahawk? Please. Iran has threatened to attack commercial shipping. The United States has offered to protect it. Unbelievable. 32 countries are teaming up to release their strategic oil reserves to release the demand, ease the pressure. There's the Bangkok ship that was attacked. Strait of Hormuz, a conduit for a fifth of the world's oil, is all but closed as war in the Middle East expands. British agencies said 3 ships were hit by unidentified projectiles. World leaders are racing today to shore up global oil supply as the war in the Middle East and retaliatory attacks by Iran threaten to choke off the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway through which a fifth of the world's oil transits. Yeah. Not good. Not good, folks. Not good at all. Yes. Iran's supreme leader has a fractured foot and face lacerations on the first day. Did that come after the IRCG beat him up? What happened? Iran's new supreme leader suffered a fractured foot and minor injuries the first day of bombardment. In addition to his injured foot, he received a bruise around his left eye as well as minor lacerations to his face. He's not been seen in public nor heard from in the days since the announcement of his appointment. So is he really in charge? No, he's not. The rogue generals in charge of the terrorist organization known as the IRCG are in charge of Iran. Iran tells the world to get ready for $200 a barrel as it attacks commercial shipping. $200 a barrel is their claim. So the world should be prepared to hit $200 a barrel as 3 more ships come under attack in the blockaded Gulf. Iran fired at Israel and targets across the Middle East Wednesday demonstrate it can still fight back and disrupt energy supplies. The Iranians are doing all they can to disrupt global shipping and the global economy. China's economy will collapse if this continues. No oil from Venezuela, no oil from Iran, not enough from Angola. They are in trouble. Australia temporarily shuts 3 embassies amid the war. Here's Australia's foreign minister, Penny Wong. Penny Wong, the foreign minister. The former prime minister of the UK, Indian. The Canadian foreign minister. The United States director of FBI. What is going on here? What is going on here? The Anglo-Saxon countries surrendering themselves to the rest of the world. Penny Wong. Australia closes 3 embassies. 5,000 targets in Iran were struck during Operation Epic Fury so far. Unbelievable how many targets have been hit. The United States has struck more than 5,000 targets. More than 50 ships have been damaged or destroyed, including the Dina. 30 different U.S. planes, ships, and drones and missiles, weapons systems used against the Iranian regime since the 28th of February. U.S. is apparently at fault in the school According to a preliminary investigation from the U.S. government, outdated targeting data may have resulted in a mistaken missile strike, according to ongoing military investigation. An ongoing military investigation determined the United States is responsible for the deadly Tomahawk missile strike on Iranian elementary school, according to U.S. officials. The February 28th strike on the elementary school, which was part of the military base. Yep. School, a lot of children killed here, although the numbers have been reported in various ways. School in the town of Minab is on the same block as buildings used by the IRCG Guard. Yep, it's the same grounds. Right there's the base. Yeah, they turned one of the base buildings into a school in order to make it a target. And they succeeded in their wildest dreams. And unfortunately, children are dead today. A van has plowed into the White House barricade, prompting Secret Service investigation. A van drove through a security barricade at the White House this morning, and the driver has been detained. The Secret Service investigating the incident as President Trump is at the executive mansion at the time. He's traveling to Ohio and Kentucky for events later today. Officers with the Secret Service Uniform Division looking at a suspicious vehicle. Hey, Fonz, where you been? We were asking about you last night. Thank you for the $5. And thank you for the 5 gifted memberships that are coming up there. We just did that. ICE Houston has arrested over 400 illegal criminal alien invaders charged with or convicted of child sex offenses in 2025 alone. Houston, a epicenter of child perverts. During President Trump's first year in office, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Houston Division arrested 414 criminal illegal aliens who were charged with or convicted of child sex offenses. The 414 criminal illegal alien child predators arrested are nearly double the number arrested during the last year in the entire Biden administration. According to the agency, the individuals were responsible for 761 child sex offenses, as well as 525 other criminal offenses. Among the arrested were a Honduran illegal immigrant convicted of aggravated sexual assault of a minor, a Mexican illegal convicted of sexual indecency with a child, an El Salvadorian national convicted of sexual indecency with a minor and failure to register as a sex offender, and a Colombian convicted of possessing child sexual abuse material. Wow. That's just in Houston alone. We have enough of our own perverts. We don't need imported criminal aliens coming to our country and attacking our children. Dramatic departure. Republicans challenge birthright citizenship for babies of illegal immigrants. That's not a departure. We've been talking about this for ages. The question before us today is a simple one. Is American citizenship the inheritance of a nation and a people, or is American citizenship simply a hollow, vacuous legal definition without protections against fraud, abuse, and bad actors, said Senator Eric Schmidt, Missouri Republican. That is a good question. Yeah, in less than a month, the Supreme Court is expected to hear this case, and he is spot on. Landmark $2 million trans surgery verdict makes a turning point against the trans insanity. The case a huge leap. Every doctor and clinic involved in this fad should be afraid of what comes next, a detransitioner said. The first of its kind jury verdict against medical professionals in a suit brought by a young woman used to identify a transgender as being a watershed moment for detransitioners. That verdict, which took place in January, held a surgeon and psychologist liable for malpractice and how they dealt with Fox variant prior to her double mastectomy at the age of 16. The jury awarded $1.6 million in pain and suffering, as well as $400,000 for future medical expenses. And the reason I run that story is because this following story right here. The UK pauses prescribing child cross-sex hormones to children following review. This comes after that court case in America, finding the doctors liable. UK's National Health Service launched a 90-day consultation on proposals on permanently removing the treatment as a routine procedure for under 18s. Yeah. All right, back to the lead story here, folks. Since people seem to be disappearing, we've gotten through that news. The South African government has launched an assault against the United States, a clear assault, not simply a verbal assault. The verbal assault has continued for months as Ramaphosa and government officials in South Africa mock the president and they mock the United States on repeated occasions. Their constant effort to make friends with rogue state actors, misbehave, inviting terrorist organizations to participate in a naval exercise while blaming it on the Chinese in their territorial waters using their military bases, getting shore leave in Simonstown, the terrorist group from the IRCG, whose ships now rest at the bottom of the Arabian Sea. Yes, that would be who. These are the actions of the South African government. A government that claims that it has never done anything. We are a small country. We don't hurt the United States. We've never done anything in the United States. That's simply untrue. That is simply poppycock. That is untrue. I have repeatedly shown you folks the behavior of the government of South Africa towards the United States, its actions which have harmed our interest over and over again. I haven't updated these recently, but let me just run through a few of the different things that this government has done against the United States' interest in the recent past. We'll go through a few of these, cover these. Okay, so let's just start with the first one here. All right, this is what the South African government has done to harm the United States' interest, and this is just scratching the surface. There is much more they've done to harm the United States' interest, and now they're bringing us in. What's with the mods? South Africa's ANC acting against U.S. interests. They imposed a 75% tariff on U.S. poultry imports. They abstained, refused to condemn Russian invasion. Ramaphosa's vaccine apartheid slander. They're cozy with designated terrorist group Hamas. They refused to condemn the October 7, 2023 attack. In fact, Naledi Pandor even congratulated Hamas on murdering 1,200 people. They blamed Israel for Hamas's terror attack, which is comical. They hosted sanctioned Russian cargo ship Lady R, ignored polite, discreet diplomatic request. Their naval exercise with Chinese Communists in Russia, Operation Mosi 2 in February 2023, during a conflict where Russia was involved in a war, and now they up the ante by having terrorist groups come there for the next one. Anti-American ties with Moscow, Beijing, and Havana, actively trying to undermine U.S. with BRICS currency, which they deny now. Ramaphosa's populist attacks on Trump in 2018. They joined 83 other states attacking the U.S. over Trump's ICC sanctions. They refused to, of course, remember South Africa threatened to leave the ICC a few years ago. Remember that? Yes. Thank you, Shereen, for the $2 super chat. Refused to sign Article 98 waiver for the Rome Statute, and they demanded that Taipei close its diplomatic mission. Do they think we forget these things? They violated the Vienna Convention, charging diplomatic aircraft fees through the airports company in South Africa. Money laundering, terror financing, that's why they were gray listed. Authorized the United States sanctioned Russian military cargo plane to land at South African Air Force Base on multiple occasions. They recruited former U.S. and NATO pilots to train the People's Liberation Army at the Test Flying Academy of South Africa, and then attempted to ship U.S. military technology to the Chinese communists from South Africa. Participated in a CCP-funded political training school in Tanzania. Yeah, and that's just the surface. The more egregious, I need to make more charts and update these things about what they've done. What they have done here, folks. They have done more since then. I mean, we've got the Iranian thing. We've got the abuse of President Trump, the mocking of our president, the doxing of our officials. The most egregious one was the doxing of a U.S. government worker, taking his personal information, his birth date, his personally identifiable information, making him a potential victim of identity theft and a threat against his life. And when they raided Woodmead, an illegal raid which violates the Vienna Convention. Yeah, unbelievable. Oh, my goodness. Where is... Okay, got it. Cool, okay. Yep, and that's only the stuff you know about. Yep. Yeah, strange. We were a great friend while the money flowed. Now the tap is closed and suddenly we're a problem. Exactly. Exactly. What the direct consequence will be? So far, the U.S. has not done anything to say, but this others bet. Yeah, they are begging, Jason. You're right. Now, sleeper cells have already been activated by the Iranians. We're aware of it. That was already intercepted. It was publicly disclosed, so I'm not letting anything in the bag. Down of squirrels. Any of us. Okay. Already filling up USA rugby team. A live Durko broadcast? Okay. Where's it at? Is it on YouTube? If it is, I'll go there right now. Let's see. I don't see it. Thank you for your membership, Garrett Klopper. Busy stream this one has been. Looking for crap. Yep, I'm so scared of our future here. Now that not supposed to UA, can USA rugby? Yeah, I don't know if we're going to do it. Okay, Lana sent me a WhatsApp. Okay. Thanks for all the time you put into curating the news highlights. Yep. WhatsApp with an article published Ambassador slamming for their insults. Okay. Yeah, I saw that a moment ago. Okay. Okay, and that's what the lefties are crying over, trying to keep. Okay, busy trying to get security. Okay, all right, cool. All right, All right, Fonz, get that done so you can get a job. So tragic. Why would they put children at risk? This is on Iran. Kids should have been evacuated from military base during war. Well, they should never have built a school right next to the headquarters. That's where they built it. Well, it also is an intelligence failure, to be honest, because apparently school's been there for a long time. The United States did not update its targeting list, or it did a poor job. So the blame does fall on the United States, not entirely on Iran. Iran is the reason, the proximate cause for the death of those children, but the United States does bear responsibility. We failed to update our target list properly. If that school has been there for 9 years, which is what they claim since 2016, then we failed to update our target list properly, and that's partially on us. Yes, the United States bears some responsibility for that. But the lies that you see in Al Jazeera falsely claim the United States targets civilians is just utter bullshit. If we targeted civilians, there'd be 70,000 dead civilians right now. Yeah. President Trump made it clear that Iran should face severe consequences should they attack oil tankers. I hope they do face severe consequences. Yep. Well, I don't know if they're oil tankers. That was a cargo ship. Cargo ships are being attacked. Ingrid wants USA to put boots on the ground in South Africa. Well, that's not going to happen. Anyone concerned about our colonel's blood pressure or whatnot, fear not. He's entirely in control. He gives passionate speeches, conveying the importance of the subject, and switches off. Thank you, Light Rain. You've got it exactly right. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Lana says, I realize today that your life in society is not measured on race. I'm not sure how to respond to that. Elon Musk also made a statement about not being allowed to sell Starlink because of BE. Yeah, but he hasn't even applied. See, you have to tell the whole story. If they want to sell in South Africa, they have to apply, but they haven't even done it. So his point is true, but give all the facts. Racism, according to them, can only come from white people. That's because they're racist. Someone that says that is actually a racist. Yeah, it shows their worldview. Runs away. I carry on this place. What is going on? The Union Building, Pretoria makes my blood boil, says Grok. Suffer without oil. At least the U.S. will start producing their own oil. Well, we have our own oil. We're the world's largest producer of oil. 16 million barrels a day, or 15 million barrels a day. Yeah, madness everywhere. Boy, those super chats came through quickly when I was doing the news. It was wise to retract a statement about Apex Court. It could similarly be offensive for Ambassador in D.C. to African Savvy. Yeah, you're right. It was wise of him to retract that statement, the way he retracted it. But it was also ridiculous of Durko to attack him. This was premeditated, pre-planned, and they were waiting. See, they couldn't say anything when he went to the Apartheid Museum and praised the end of apartheid and the movement to end apartheid. There was nothing to say about it there. When he went around, he said the U.S. wants increased trade. They couldn't get anything out of there. Yep. But now they got someone. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Oh. Yeah, no, African Savvy, you're correct. He was wise to retract the statement, but he shouldn't have had to retract the statement. It was not insulting to the South African government. It was not insulting to South Africa. And, he didn't attack the court and say the court was ridiculous. It didn't call it a kangaroo court. Didn't say the court was corrupt. He never said that. He said he disagreed with the courts. In his opinion, he disagreed. That's his right under South African law. But it wasn't diplomatic. He didn't have to say that. So, yeah. Yeah, but this is a clear attack on the United States and a mistake, a huge mistake. Yep. If people know that the ANC and their propaganda partners like News 24, Daily Maverick are out to lie to the world to hide what they're really doing in South Africa, I wish people would see that. Sent you the link on WhatsApp of Durko. Oh, okay. Okay, El Marie, thank you. Thank you for finding that, El Marie. That's not it. Well, if this is somebody's channel, I won't be able to watch it. If it's the government's channel, we'll be able to do it. It's over, it looks like. Yeah. Oh, that's over. That's not live. It was an hour ago. I'll have to watch it after the fact. Look how empty the newsroom is. Almost no media there. Look how self-important these pigs are. Nobody shows up. Maybe a dozen journalists. All these empty seats.
Okay. Good evening.
What a joke.
Members of the media.
2020-2030 of SADC, which is a 10-year framework designed to deepen Southern African Development Community, regional integration, and development.
Yeah, no, SADC has been integrated for decades, hero. You don't need to have something to do it now. That's silly. Silly, silly fellow. Silly, silly fellow. Yeah, all right, how are we doing here? No, I'm not going to play Ronald the Mole. I just turned off. Considering Iran's attacks against U.S. friendlies, perhaps a condolence letter was a survival move. No doubt Iran is a sleeper cell. No. Iran is not going to attack South Africa. Can you explain the launch that the U.S. taking in South Africa? Is it like a court? What do you mean launch? What does that mean, Debbie? What launch? I don't understand what you're saying. Do you have to respect the kangaroo court? We've been waiting for a slip up. Hey, Carl, what's going on? 42 degrees. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's too warm, folks. I don't know what you mean by launch that the U.S. is taking against. What launch? Is that the wrong word? Yeah, they might have changed town names and city names, but they can't fix potholes. Yep. Beware of phone calls was something of been a scammer. Oh, you were accused in committing crimes because I applied for a refugee program. Ignore that. Ignore that stuff. The best diplomatic response to South Africa is increased refugee activity and recruiting Boers, trade engineers. Yep. Heard on today, Malema called on government to remove U.S. ambassador. Yep. Yet again, South Africans will not be dictated by. Yes, I already covered that. Yep. I think ANC can play victim again after 30 years being victimized by USA. They can get support from the rest of the globe. I don't think it will happen. They've not been victimized by the USA. They've been given billions of dollars, which allow them to steal because we took care of the needs of South Africans while they ignored them. That's the reality here. Garrett, thank you for the 35 Rand super chat. First super chat. Appreciate that. Hey, Joan, what's going on? Yeah, see, what people don't understand is since 1994, the United States has subsidized the ANC by providing money to NGOs to provide health care, to provide support for HIV, to run HIV clinics, antiretrovirals. We provided all these things for the past 30 plus years, which meant that the ANC didn't have to provide that to the tune of $300 to $500 million per year. Every year. Every single year. We gave $8.1 billion in HIV support under PEPFAR alone, and PEPFAR didn't come around until 2003, already a decade after the country existed. We gave money to support trade integration in South Africa, democratization. We gave money for so many things to help South Africans. We also supported South Africa's loans in the IMF and the World Bank over and over and over again, despite constant abuse by the ANC towards the United States. But the idiots that ran the Clinton administration and the idiots in the Bush administration, the Obama administration, couldn't see straight and didn't realize or didn't care that our interests were being undermined on a daily basis. Bush got angry because South Africa wouldn't recognize or sign an Article 98 waiver for the International Criminal Court, but that was resolved rather quickly. But it took months, and for months we provided no military assistance whatsoever to the South African military because of that. South Africa's government has been antagonistic. It's been Soviet-esque. It has been vile. It's been repulsive. It has attacked the interests of the United States, its friends, partners, and allies for the entire existence of the ANC. While pretending to take the moral high ground. There's no moral high ground for the ANC. They're so far from the moral high ground that if they fall, they would fracture their spine. Anyway, that's the reality here, folks. That's the reality we're dealing with here. That is the reality we're dealing with here. 50 degrees. Antoinette, where are you at in the Northern Cape, man? Esther says, I'm horrified at our government's stance in this matter. Are they totally crazy, just plain stupid? They are. They are stupid. See, it shows to me that the EFF faction is alive and well inside the ANC. Children who cannot behave themselves. Oh, Andre Giant just had the air conditioning installed. That was good. Bra Steve Bohr in USA. Well, Bra Steve Bohr, we've never seen you before, so thank you for chatting. Since I started to work here in Chicago, I missed most of the live streams. Happy to catch one today. Okay, well, please watch him after the fact, Steve. That'd be great. And welcome to America. I assume you just came over as a refugee. I don't know who you are. Don't recognize that. Excuse me. Oh, not getting better here. Paul Stapleberg, how's it going there, brother? 43. Well, that's hot. Thanks for everything you do. 14 Rand. Thank you for that, Eater Magog. Thank you for that super chat. Thanks against members of ANC will somehow change that part. No, it won't. But it will send a message. And of course, their first cry will be, "Oh, we're being attacked, we're being singled out." Ooh. No, you're not being singled out. You're not being attacked. You are simply being punished for your conduct. So, yeah, you watch. Things are going to get ugly. Things are going to get ugly because the ANC just cannot help itself. Things are going to get ugly now. And that's unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen, but that's the reality. So the African National Congress has fired a salvo against the United States in an effort to attack us. You know, in the midst of South Africa losing all its friends, it just doesn't make any sense. But you know what? That government doesn't make any sense at all. They do stupid things. So, by the way, how's the DA feeling about their relationship with the GNU at this stage? How are they feeling about it? They've already got a failed agriculture minister, a failed public works minister, Mr. Nil Compensation, who flies his boyfriend around on luxury jets in violation of government policy, apparently. Dean McPherson, you know, nil compensation is compensation. Yeah, I don't know where that guy, you know, with a name like McPherson, you'd think he'd understand English better, but apparently he doesn't understand the word nil in the English language. Mr. Nil Compensation there. Mr. Nil Compensation. Yeah. Yeah, the DA, where is the DA? Where are they at? They got anything to say? Yes, Ambassador Bozell was soft-spoken. He was polite. He wasn't animated yet. You are correct about that, Joan Pearl. They are just being idiots. Idiots. What does Chris Pappas do? Oh, is it somebody's birthday? Sally's birthday? I thought we already did Sally's birthday. All right, let's get her a cake real quick before we wrap up the show. There we go. Oh, why is that all the way over there? It should be over here. There we go. Rotten to the core, says Ben Botha. We simply do not care about the DA's point of view anymore. Well, Mr. Shariko, I think that's the point of my question. You've kind of hit the nail on the head. Don't think USA will ever physically act against South because the majority. Sanctions is the only action. Yeah. Wonder why Scandinavia, who were the biggest donors to the ANC, do not come to the rescue. Yeah, that's a good question. During the apartheid era, it was the Scandinavians who were dumb enough to support the hell-bent racist in the ANC to get to power. Yep, that's a good point. That's cool. But by the way, folks, for those who don't know this, we do have a Facebook channel page, which I've had forever, but I wasn't really promoting, and now we're putting content on it. So if you'd like to go to the Facebook page, you can join us on the Facebook page. And I'll give you the link to that right now. And we've gone over 10,000 followers over there in just a little over 10 days, which is pretty awesome. And there's about 1,000 people here, so maybe we can gain a couple hundred more followers over there if you don't mind. There's the link. Go open that link up and join the Facebook page. And by the way, I've opened up memberships. You know, if you want to be a subscriber to the channel, you get a special, pin for your That's the only thing right now, and it's only $1. I just did it to see how it goes, if people are interested in it. So it's there. You can do that. If you want, you can go over and check it out. Herman, good evening to you. How's the tobacco world? Yep. So go check that out, folks. Thank you for 35 Rand. Yeah, you're right. Why aren't the Scandinavians who, during the 1960s and 70s, supported the ANC when nobody supported them, why aren't they supporting them now? Exactly. Stay safe. Follow Facebook. Thank you, Caroline. Appreciate that. Ronaldo is next. That's correct. In about 4 minutes. For the DA, pleasing their handlers has become more important than their voters. You're right about that. Thanks for the news, Colonel Wyatt. Catch you with Ronaldo, says Johan. Thank you for the news. Okay, no, I'm not feeling better, unfortunately. I barely got up in time for the news today. I woke up twice this morning and went right back to sleep. Thank you, JJ Pretorius. So because I'm ill, there's no way I can go to Florida this weekend. I'm not going to get people sick. Well, at least I can say I'm an OG on your Facebook channel. That's fine, G9. Too busy supporting radical Islam. No, I think you're right about that, Mr. Trico. DA will have anything today seeing they bought foot mouth is does not. I have no idea what Grant is saying there. All right, yeah, look at sound. Do I sound better? Yeah, water hydration is important. See, I'm drinking water, not iced tea, which is a diuretic. Thank you, Moinoi. Yep, they've got Islamic conquest in their backyard. All right, we're going to wrap up here, folks. We'll see you over in Aldo, hopefully in a couple minutes. Please join us over there. Thanks for your support. Be sure to hit the like button. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye. Thank you for the super chat snippets.